Hello everybody, welcome back for StarCraft 2 action. We have Clem going up against GuMiho in the Homestory Cup 25 semifinals. It's a TvT, a best of 5 that starts us off on Oceanborn. Both players going for that Rax gas, but GuMiho's gas being a little earlier, going for the gas first. And a second Rax out on the map. Looks to be some Reaper action coming out from GuMiho. Clemming the Clem, as it were. Giving him a taste of his own medicine, sending some Reapery goodness his way. And sticking on that one gas. Whereas Clem going for the double gas. Probably going to be going for a super fast factory here. Factory. And we see the first Reaper starting on up. And the second one probably going to be following as soon as that Rax finishes up. Or the factory starts up. And the second Reaper has been put into production. Now we did see Clem play double Reaper in these similar positions, but then Clem was in GuMiho's position in a different game. I don't remember the matchup, but it basically all ended on this ramp. Maybe it was versus a Zerg, I don't know. It's been a while. But we've seen games end pretty fast to multiple Reapers versus only one Reaper. If you're slightly out of position sitting on top of this ramp, yep, you get hit once, you get hit twice, and suddenly the second Reaper shows up, and you're like, uh-oh. This one SCV goes to the corner, but does get found out by these hungry Reapers of GuMiho. And the second Reaper for Clem is out. We do see Hellion coming in as well. Both players getting their CC up. Clem's CC is still a little bit in a perilous situation. It's going to be 4 Reapers at least here for GuMiho. Starting some Marines at home. No extra Reapers anymore. Let's see if he flies that barracks home. Or starts like a tech lab for Marauders. That would be crazy. GuMiho loses the first Reaper. Clem also loses one Reaper. The Hellion here has to anchor hard. Oh, the Reaper almost goes down, but Clem keeps it alive. Second Reaper for GuMiho does go down. And now it's 2 Reapers versus 2 Reapers and a Hellion. Clement takes down the SCV as well. And at the end there, Clem is slightly ahead in SCVs, but GuMiho does have a command center that is slightly further along, but Clem further along in his tech route already has a starport. He's making a cyclone now, whereas GuMiho does not even have his starport started. And now does start it up, starts a cyclone, does have its second barracks, but it's out on the map. So we see the bunker coming out here for GuMiho, so we can have slightly more defensive posture and stay alive. Clem going for that third gas super fast. Is he thinking about mech, baby? Could be. Or this is just the one weird matchup in the Terran arsenal that needs this much gas. Because in all the other matchups, Terran is way more mineral focused. But in TvT is like, well, you need siege tanks, so you need ravens early, preferably. And those guys cause gas. And there comes the first raven. We have a tech lab coming up as well. Probably going to be the siege tank. And the interference matrix does come out, of course. Using that to shut down your opponent's tanks. Get your position. We had a drop occur here, took down 2 of the SCVs, third command center for Gumi going down. And Clem did delay that a little bit. Now we do see the tech lab coming out on the factory for GuMiho, and we see a reactor on the starport. And Stim already starting up. On Clem's side of the map, we do not have Stim. So he's playing just tanks and Ravens right now, with Marines in tow. But the Marines are not getting any upgrades. No luxuries afforded for the conscripted soldiers here. Harassment's going on both sides. the drop doesn't find a lot more damage. In the interference matrix does finish up for Clem. And the Reaper does go down in the main of GuMiho. Fourth gas coming out. And how many ravens do we have? Do we have one raven? No way. Two ravens. Yeah, okay. So we have two ravens with interference matrix and two tanks, bunch of marines and a cyclone. They're looking to move out and take the aggression to the other side of the map. Or is it just purely defensive? This third base going down for Clem. He's making a second starport. So he's really thinking about that air superiority in this TvT matchup. Going to be making some extra Vikings, 3 Vikings at a time right now, versus the reactored starport of GuMiho. That is still making medevacs. So he's definitely going to have that air superiority at the start. Clem, of course, had his factory earlier, had the starport earlier. So he's definitely going to have an advantage in the air. And the tank counts with the defense advantage probably evens out. 3 moving out. There's 2 here for GuMiho and a third one. Oh, could already be joining the fray as well. Marine drop goes out onto the map. This Marine does not see it. It tries to see it, but it doesn't see it. And these armies are actually going to meet in the middle of the map. Precarious situation. Goodbye, Marine. And GuMiho, nice of him to be out on the map here, boxing back Clem's army, making sure that it can't reach the base of GuMiho whilst he establishes his third. The Marine drop does go down in the natural. We see a couple SCV kills going down. One Marine gets left behind. Private Ryan was not saved this game. And the Marine drop goes into the main, but doesn't get a whole lot done. Gets a little bit of damage on a tank. Not great. In the meanwhile, Clem not really able to use this distraction to get his army in range of third base. GuMiho still boxing him out with his positioning and just falling back as soon as Clem is moving forward. And one tank already interference matrixed. Auto turret goes down and 2 tanks go down there. With the help of these Ravens of Clem, 4 tanks here, but barely any Marine Corps left over. Fourth base being built on Clem's side of the map. And he is playing the mech. He's meching it happen. Because he has 2 factories churning out those tanks. He's making the Viking army, the Armada, just flying around. Whereas GuMiho, surprisingly to me at least, he's the guy going for bio. I still have this image of GuMiho that he's just a mech. He's a mech guy, right? But he's well-rounded nowadays. He has that mechy edge to him, but he can bio. He can bio. And that is all the more scary. That's kind of like a Bly that can macro, you know? Like the big cheeser guy that's also just secretly, like low-key, a macro god. It's like, oh my. The macro is where it starts, guys. The sad truth is that mechanics or fundamentals always triumph. And so that's where it starts. When you want to get good. Just need to be good at the making Marines, making SCVs, and attacking with as many units as possible. That's the step number 1. Strategy comes later. Cyclone does get taken down. Cannot prevent the 4th from touching down. He does send one last report home. Like, yo, Commander, the 4th base is being taken. I repeat, the 4th base has been taken. Commander's like, good job, soldier. Now you die. Soldier's like, what? I thought, no evac? What? But my children. He's like, the budget cuts, bro. Oh. Fourth base for Clem is down, but on the other side, GuMiho seems to just be out expanding Clem. fifth base is already being established. And Clem is making a orbital at his home base, his main base. More factories going down, double armory. But GuMiho should know how to crack this egg. How to bust this turtle shell. Turtle power. Fusion core. And an armory. Or second armory even. We see a bunch more barracks coming out. We have double starport. Triple starport Viking coming out of GuMiho. Oh. Okay. So this is going to be an air battle. It's going to be Vikings. But I like the fusion core. He's thinking about either lib range or battle cruisers. And I think battle cruisers are pretty okay in this matchup. Oh. 2 Hellions do get found by the quadruple drop. The Quadro. 2 more command centers being built here by Clem, and he's being uber defensive. 200, 200, maxed out, ready to go, but no upgrades to speak of. Now +1/+1 does finish up for the meching Terran, and we do see the lib range starting up. The fusion core dance has started up. I mean, it's like a 15-year-old joke by now. Nah, it's like 13-year-olds. 13-year-old, I think. 13 years old. When Day 9 first made that reference. Oh, and Clem, he's trying to weasel his way onto GuMiho ground, but we even have the Thoys here. Very cool. Oh my god, look at Clem's awkward position between the rocks. But the tanks behind the rocks actually feel very safe. What are the Marines gonna do? The F2 sends in 2 Marines. The Dorito cannon lights up a lot of those Vikings, but now the bio drops on top of the entire army of Clem. Big on siege, and tanks on siege still have a pretty decent DPS, but they are single target when they are unsieged. And Clem trades evenly-ish with the army of GuMiho, and GuMiho says, "No further. You shall not pass." And Clem barely passed the middle of the map. Gets his head snapped off. And GuMiho stays alive, and Clem needs to remax on expensive mech. Now, if we look at units lost, Clem has lost a little bit more gas units, whereas GuMiho has lost a little bit more minerals. Now, I think gas is a more important bottleneck here on the side of Clem. But no players out of it right now. I think the important bit is here that Clem is a little vulnerable whilst he's still trying to max out once again. When his tanks are slightly out of position, that is when stuff can go wrong, but he's moving forward. He is bravely going where no meching Terran has gone before, and he's taking a 5th base. And it never happens in my ladder games. They just take 4 bases and they never move out. And then it's like, oh, you have 15 battle cruisers. That's very fun. And then they just fly like around the edge of the map, and you just barely don't see them. And then they like snipe one base, and you're like, oh, I need to react. And then they snipe the second one with Yamatos, and then they teleport back home, and you're like, wow. And then you find like the one ninja base that they have like in the corner of the map, and you're like, oh my mother trucker. More command centers going down. Jesus, we're seeing a lot of command centers, in GuMiho making a very successful incursion into Clem's side of the map. These Liberators trying to siege up, but the Viking count is very high for Clem, 13 to 9. And some of these are still making their way across the map, most likely. But has GuMiho outmaneuvered Clem? Taking this high ground once again, this, you know, field center, as it were. It bites people on the ass. We saw it in the last cast as well with Showtime. Taking this area, and then getting Skillet stuck on the low ground. It's so easy to cut off one of these bases when you have this area. And Clem trying to make his way around, but again, these rocks getting him a little stuck, but there's a lot of Thors. How many Thors? 7 Thors. Thors are cool, not gonna lie. And they're moving forward. The Autobots are coming in, or is Clem a Decepticon? I am not sure. PF does go down. The 4th base for Clem is dead, but there's enough CCs on the map, and he does some counter damage, takes down one of the bases. These Hellions have the blue flame, and they are going to be taking down these SCVs, no problem. They were actually the Hellbats, and they got transformed. Do they have the Transformers upgrade? No. Clem does not have the Transformer upgrade. There's this one upgrade on the Tech Lab for factories that makes the transformation between Hellion, Siege Tank, and Thor, and Viking twice as fast, I think. Oh my god. 21 SCVs went down for GuMiho, most of them to those Blue Flame Hellions. And both of these players have a bloody nose right now. Both of them losing a base and a bunch of SCVs. Clem sitting pretty young, 63. GuMiho, 58. Might not be super happy with that. 4 libs underway. We do see the transformation salvos coming out, and GuMiho stimming in with all of his Marauders and Marines, and not enough tanks here in the back to deal with this bio. And the Thors, they think they can run away. They have pretty big legs, but they're still slow boys. And they just get taken down without any resistance whatsoever. And we have a couple tanks here in the back. Completely red bio, but when spread well, they can maybe get on top of the tanks. One tank does fall. And GuMiho feels himself forced to retreat. Lots of Liberators out on the map for him. 9 libs. And that's why we see these Thors coming out of Clem. Because Thors, with their high impact load... Wow, their load. A lot of stupid jokes to be made there. Wow, Unsieged Tank, the F2 strikes again. The Blue Flame Hellion, what can he do? But the Thor, with their high impact load, does a 1 volley attack. Whereas, traditionally, they only did, like, their big spread rockets attack, which was like their anti-Mutalisk attack, basically, for the first 2 games. For the first 2 expansions. But then they got the high impact load, which basically allowed them to transform into an anti-air mode that gave them like 1 big anti-air attack, which has pretty high range and has no projectile. It is very strong. Well, it does have travel time, I think. I don't know if it's hit scan, but it's pretty darn good. And if you try to micro your Thors, it doesn't feel good. They destroy Thors. Whereas, you know, traditionally, Broodlords were kind of like the counter to Thors. But as I am rambling on, GuMiho takes position on the 4th base once again. Nice interference matrix on one of the tanks, but these Marines do have 3-3, and at the bottom, the bio has found another command center that is not a PF. Clem trying to greed out a little bit, trying to get down some mules there. Unsieged tanks clean up the last of the Marauders. And you see 20 Marauders. It's pretty Marauder heavy here. Kind of like we used to do against Protoss. Used to treat Protoss like mech, basically. Oh my god, GuMiho is very clumped up, but the siege tanks were not completely sieged. And GuMiho seizes the moment. Sieges on in, gets in there, spreads his army a little bit, mitigates a bunch of the splash, and takes down a lot of the siege tanks from Clem. And now we have a quadruple drop again. Only 3 of the medevacs loaded up, though. On top of the last few tanks of Clem, and all the siege that we have is these 2 Widow Mines and this 1 siege tank in the back. This 4th base, again, proving to be a very difficult base to hold for Clem with pure mech. Never has any tanks, like, in this shrubbery. And Clem feels the need to GG out there, and, I mean, just couldn't remax again. How many factories was he up to? Only 5 fact, actually. 5 fact with 3, 4, 5, 6 starports. Just triple armory, that's kind of cool. But, like, that's how committed he was to the air war. Let's see what GuMiho does. 1, 2, 3. Only 3 starports. So, wow. Actually, Clem just hemorrhaging air units at the end there. GuMiho playing it good, playing it clean. Takes the map that he can take and bio. Usually takes the map control versus mech, and we saw it. GuMiho just played Gandalf there, and he was like, you shall not pass. You can't get past this ramp, you can't get past this thing. And Clem just never really got on GuMiho's side of the map. Never, like, got a good foothold there and start pushing some of the bases. Like, he walked over to this base once with all of his Thors, and then walked back and got all of his Thors killed. And welcome to game number 2, GuMiho going up against Clem. GuMiho going gas first once again, and Clem sending out an SCV in a suspicious manner. What is Clem up to? Is he going to reversal GuMiho here in game number 2 and give him some double Rax Reaper action? It does look like it. So let's see how GuMiho likes it when a bunch of Reapers suddenly show up at his natural. And before that action kicks off, be sure to like and subscribe if you like the StarCraft 2 coverage. I'm also in talks with the ESL to do the weekly cups. I got properly gate-kept because they said they don't need more community casters for the English. So I won't be like live streaming any of them, most likely. Not famous enough. I mean, there's no tough feelings there from my side. I'm just trying to make light of it. But there were, or I tried to suggest that I could get access to the replays, and they were open to the suggestion. So might be able to do a little bit of coverage on the ESL Cups, you know, the weekly ones. So that would be pretty cool to just have at least 1 or 2 of the ESL Cup series every week. Ooh, factory coming out of Clem instead of a CC, so this is pretty aggressive. So look forward to that. Hopefully I can do some of the ESL Cups. That would be cool. Just a couple replays, a couple casts. Ooh, the double Reaper. Get on top of the SCV. Gets insta-bopped. Oh, but the Marine and the Reaper there, they are ready. But Clem pulls back his Reaper perfectly. Gets the snipe on GuMiho's Reaper. And then also gets... No, it does not. Does not get the kill on the Marine. And actually loses one of his Reapers at the back there. The Hellion tries to find a Reaper in transit. Does not find it at all. And Clem is not stopping. 2 more Reapers coming out. 2 already went down. Another SCV goes down. 3 Reapers are here. And a starport's underway. Not making a Hellion to send across the map. Or a Cyclone. I'm kind of surprised by that. This Hellion does stop the CC from building, but these Reapers are doing the exact same thing. Quite a few SCVs have gone down. A Cyclone is out for GuMiho. The Reaper did get targeted down, but the lock-on got broken. But 3 Reapers running away from the 3 Marine, 1 Cyclone squad. Another SCV comes in, and a 4th Reaper even joins the fray. Oh my god, the Reapers dive on top of the Cyclone. 3 Reapers do have to give their life for that. One of them does stay alive. 1 Marine still goes down, but this natural is safe. The barracks is retreating. A Cyclone is coming out. A reactor is being built on the barracks. And we see a medevac coming out. That is interesting. Is this going to be like a double Cyclone drop? 3rd base underway for Clem. So from super aggression going right back into some macro-focused play. 2nd Cyclone coming out for GuMiho as well, or I guess the 3rd one of the game, but one of them did go down. We have 1 medevac for GuMiho straight into the TAC lab, wants to get that interference matrix up, perchance. And also a TAC lab on the factory, gets a 3rd base, GuMiho. If he takes a gas, I would be convinced that he's going mech as well. But for now, not meching it happen. 2 Reapers and a Cyclone making their way across the map. And going to be dropping on top of this SCV that really wants to make a supply depot, but that... Oh, you could click it down, get 100 minerals lost, but only gets 1. Ooh, the double Cyclone comes out. They lock onto the units, so they can't lock onto the medevac after that. But if you lock onto the medevac, and a medevac boosts away, if the lock breaks, the units of Clem actually do a lot of damage to your units. So it's kind of safer to lock on to your opponents like Cyclone or other units. Maybe if you are a god, you lock onto their Cyclone and the other Cyclone locks onto their medevac. I don't know. Then they probably pick up and boost, but I don't know. That's some of that Terran exclusive knowledge. But the tanks are hitting the field. Interference matrix coming out. And, ooh, Clem making a lib here. He's super annoying with these liberators. He's not a set it and forget it type of person. He's a, I'm besieging and I'm watching that stuff like a hawk. One of Clem's best skills, supposedly, is that he's very good at looking at multiple things on the map simultaneously at all times. That's what Lambo said in his recent analysis video, and I believe him. You should go watch Lambo's video. He analyzed how Clem beat the GOAT in a finals of some random tournament. It was very fun to watch. I watch all of those so I can do slightly better casting, especially when it comes to non-Zerg matchups. And to stay up to date, honestly. At some point, you just see all these good Zergs do stuff and you're like, or Terrans, you know, like, wow, that used to be like once every 5 games that somebody can hit that so consistently, so well. And now they're all kind of doing it. Is this now everybody's good? Or is it just easy to do now? Or isn't it like special anymore, right? Kind of like Maru, Marine King Prime, like all their Marine splits and stuff. Like, we kind of expect all Terrans to have amazing splits nowadays, and we don't... Oh, Clem loses a pretty stacked medevac with units there. I think it was the one with 2 Reapers and a Cyclone, but the medevac itself also really hurts. 3 tanks, 2 Ravens moving across the map, and now GuMiho is like... Let me show you how it's done. Clem going into bio... Whereas GuMiho also going into bio, so it's a double bio. Marine tank, the classic. But we have a little bit of extra sauce in Legacy of the Void. Ooh, the tanks being shuffled around. Clem, is he in position? He does have this one tank, but the interference matrix, he actually sieges up. Or gets unsieges. Oh my god, the tanks are pulled. Clem is like, I need to break this right now. And he goes for the double siege. Or quadruple siege, but now GuMiho with the pickup gets on top of all the tanks. Unsiege is forced. All of the SCVs were pulled and killed. The Marines are trickling in from the barracks. They stim in, try to save the siege tanks. 3 of them are alive. All the auto turrets and interference matrices already used. 14 SCVs went down. 1 more Viking. Lucky ass Viking, dude. What the hell? 3 HP, 1 Marine shot, 1 little bang bang. But nope. The Gauss rifle was not used, and now the double upgrades are finishing up for Clem. He has 53 SCVs remaining. He's been churning them out of his 3 command centers. And this Liberator, 7 kills. This goddamn Liberator just goes away again. That doesn't happen on the ladder either. It's like, this Liberator will be shift-click into your mineral line, and once you kill it, it's gone. Clem won't let you kill it. He will fly away and come back, kind of like a mosquito. You're like, go away. But I'll come back until you swat it properly. Dude, I wish I was... like myself 10 years ago, and so I could play more StarCraft. Unbothered. Oh my god, GuMiho now just pulling the boys and trying to hold off Clem's push this time around. The interference matrices do go down on Clem's tanks, and so the SCVs do stay alive a little longer, buffer a little longer, but GuMiho has mostly just tanks. His bio army has been shredded. Part of it was also put into these medevacs. There is a counter drop happening. And these 4 tanks keeping GuMiho alive. Very good defensive position. GuMiho stims in with his 7 Marines. These 7 Marines are gonna do it, boys. We're gonna get some SCV kills. Oh, they're actually gonna get a tank kill here. That is very valuable. They get 2 Marines as well. And now the Marines of Clem do appear. The turret tries to help out. Does get a bunch of damage on that medevac. And maybe a drop down here died. Didn't see it. Oh, these SCVs, what are they doing? What are they doing? They were also shift-click to go back? I don't know what happened there. Oh, the medevac! Oh my god! If you don't see that, suddenly the medevac dies to one Marine. That feels so bad. Losing your medevac to one Marine. Did all that work to keep it safe. Oh my god. 5 racks. 4th CC coming down. Double engineering bay. Double factory. I love Marine tank versus Marine tank. I think that it's so cool. It's way cooler without the tanky vacs. Because the tanky vacs were dumb. Holy moly. Does anybody remember Dazon Station? I think you could literally make a siege tank, siege it up, and hit your opponent's natural. That's how close by. Because you had like these tiny ramps leading into 2 gold bases that had a small bridge between them. That's how close you were. I think that's Dazon Station. That was a dumb map. It was very fun, but also very dumb. Oh my god, Clem, nice job! Gets GuMiho out of position slightly, gets his tanks into range. All these interference matrices though. Actually, Clem now feeling very out of position, but he does push in with his Marines. Gets the 5th base, but all of his tanks on the low ground here are sacrificed. Oh my god. Operation Barbarossa not going Clem's way. And now GuMiho. GuMiho's so good at just loading up a bunch of his army and flying across the map. This was basically the joke of TvT for the longest of times. It's like, who can doom drop the other first? That was all TvT was. It's like, you don't have vision of me? Doom drop. It would just load up 5 medevacs flying to the main and then, you know, hope you get him. Oh my god, GuMiho though. Catches Clem trying to drop. Clem already used his boost. And if you use your boost and fly into medevacs, then those medevacs can boost longer than you. So you can't get away anymore. So you basically have to unload right away. But GuMiho also had more units in the medevac. So basically those units are just kind of dead. It feels bad. Oh, these Marines do catch all of the tanks unsieged, but it's just more Marines for GuMiho. No siege tanks for Clem at all. Nice pickup there by Clem. Hot pickup. 2 siege tanks do get sniped down right away. A 3rd one as well. Great target firing by GuMiho, and he gets out before the tanks are fully sieged and ready to go. Equal upgrades, but Clem slightly behind in the supply and more so in the army supply because he has more workers and less supply overall, meaning that his army is tiny compared to that of GuMiho. +3 about to finish for Clem, so he's gonna have a small advantage in the Marines, but he has 15 less Marines. I'm not sure if +3 compared to +2 really makes a big difference there. Clem does have more bases. Look at that. GuMiho only 3 bases. So GuMiho actually quite committed at this junction. No more Ravens on the map, and Clem has found time to invest into Vikings. And now he rules the skies. 7 Vikings versus 3. One of them does get shot out of the air by the Gauss rivals of the Marines. And GuMiho behind this does take a 4th. Does not feel confident enough to take the gold. He doesn't know about this 5th base. Does know that there is a turret there, but he didn't see a base. So maybe he thinks he's not like super duper behind. Which, I mean, he isn't. He's maxed. He has a good amount of workers. And he just took a fresh 4th. He has good upgrades. But Clem is taken like a sort of a lead in the fact that he has more bases, right? He also has more air. So that's why I'm favoring Clem ever so slightly. Double drop finds a sensor tower that's just placed in the middle of the map. That's kind of cool. It kind of makes maybe Clem believe that there is a base there. That's a cool mind game. If you put a sensor tower there, it is also just covers a very unique part of the map. Double drop of Clem runs into the 3rd base gets the +3 gets cancelled. What the hell? My words. 30 SCVs die for that +3 attack, and still it does not finish. This +3 armor is probably going to finish, and GuMiho feels that he needs to push in now because he's not going to have an upgrade, equality or parity anytime soon. +2 on the tanks also cancelled. These two medevacs, oh my god, if they get back, they need to get medals. This one Marine, Billy the Marine, 1 health, and is going to get shot down. Is not a POW. No prisoners are taken in StarCraft 2. That's actually kind of brutal. Never take prisoners. Maybe Zerg is the most benevolent race, I guess. We have Neural Parasite. We take prisoners. I guess only the units that remain when you say GG. Those are POWs. Because I think you're in a random area on in the cosmos. So you're probably not like on home turf most of the time when you're fighting. GuMiho does try to bring the war to 2 fronts. But Clem seems to be cleaning up very well, and now he has a big supply lead, army supply lead. He has the upgrade lead, he has the econ lead, but we do have a doom drop, ladies and gentlemen. And GuMiho finds his way onto the production of Clem. We have 1 tank, 2 tank, and we have stim marines. Can Clem take back his main base before GuMiho shuts down this ramp? And yes, he can. Pushes GuMiho out of his main base. A lot of reinforcements were coming in. Only 1 tank still remaining. And Clem makes this series a real one. Taking game number 2 here on Alcyone. Marine tank versus Marine tank. And Clem comes out on top with some pretty solid play. Opens up aggressively. Pivots into a big macro. And honestly, looking pretty fresh. It seems like if you aggress too early in this matchup, you can just take tremendous losses. But also just this Marine drop taking down the upgrades, like, that was crazy. Clem took down a base, took down the upgrades, and when you have a similar army composition and defensively that composition is stronger than offensively, and then you're also behind on upgrades and on economy, you need to make some really good moves. And GuMiho did make some nice moves, but did not end up paying off. They were a little desperate, but you have to do something. The Hail Mary has to be thrown. And we are loading up into game number 3. And welcome to the third of the Holy Trinity that we see in every best of 3. It's Side Delta, together with Oceanborn and Alcyone. We see those maps every best of 3. If the players love their standard maps. Clem moving out with his SCV once again, looking to do the cheeky on GuMiho's side of the map. I kinda am thirsting for a little bit of Proxy Marauder. I don't know if that's good in this matchup, but I would love to see it. I would just be very happy to see it. But it looks to be just the double Reaper coming out of GuMiho's side. I feel like if you just send a Reaper out from his main base, don't you just find this? It's probably not on time, but double gas coming out of GuMiho, so going for that fast factory here in game number 3. Whereas Clem looks to be making more Reapers once again. And the first one starts up. You can't make a tech lab that falls off the map. Would be kind of funny, but you can't do it. And we see instant reactor for GuMiho, so not making any units, just instant reactor, so not getting that factory right away. That is interesting. Is he gonna go for double Reaper after the reactor? Or is he gonna go for double Marine with Hellion? If you look at the gas, he could afford the double Reaper, and it would be a very good response, blind response, to what Clem is doing here. He's sending out his first Reaper, second Reaper's underway as well. He's making a third one, and yes, we do see the double Reaper coming out of GuMiho here. So he is going to have 2 Reapers soon TM. And if Clem moves up this ramp to try and find a command center, he's going to be sorely disappointed and find no command center. GuMiho starts his on the high ground, and he moves on up. He sees the reactor, he sees the factory, he kills 1 SCV. He kills a second SCV, so gets a little bit of damage done here. Third SCV, but now the double Reaper is out, and Clem knows there is no escaping. Actually, what? Takes down the Reaper, and then gets out with his own Reaper. Even though he was targeting SCVs. Like, what? Dude, Clem is crazy. I don't want to call him a psychopath, because that has been done before, but holy moly. He just gets 3 SCVs, gets the Reaper kill, and gets out. Perfect game for Clem so far. The Rax is flying back. More Reapers coming out for GuMiho. Is going up to 5 with 2 Hellions. So we're going to see some counter-aggression. Starport and CC still underway for GuMiho. And a Blade Factory underway for Clem. Third base also going down. Oh my. Third base so early for Clem. If he gets away with this, he's going to be nasty, nasty ahead. GuMiho making sure there's no, like, double racks with tech labs over there. That would be kind of funny. Like, that's probably a build that happens on Site Delta, where you just build, like, your barracks factory here, and then you get, like, a tank over here, a siege this, and then you get a liberator, and then they just can't use their ramp anymore. That seems pretty annoying to deal with. Even just Viking siege tank proxied next to their main. Like 1-2 siege tanks. I guess you need a medevac to get your siege tanks over there. But still. Clem going for a reactor on the factory. That's interesting. Probably going to just swap it out with the starports when you look at the building placement. The stim is coming out, so Clem going right into the bio. And look at this harassment force out of GuMiho. 4 Hellions and 7 Reapers plus a medevac. He needs to get big damage done with this. He's behind in the economy already. Does not have a third base. He is going for the Ravens. And the Hellions are coming in with all of the Reapers. And can Clem hold on here? No, my God. He's pulling all the boys. He's pulling the Marines. More boys. The Reapers coming in. Clem knows he's in grave danger. And the SCVs are being kept away by all of these, well, explosives from the Reapers. And, oh my God, these Hellions and Reapers getting so much damage on 14, 16, 17 SCVs go down. But the Marines do prevail slowly but surely. All of the Reapers now down except for 1. And there's still a medevac here. Drops into the natural. This bunker was unloaded as well. Clem goes after this big drop. Clicks down the medevac. Oh, go into the bunker. You get extra range. Oh, it doesn't do it. 18 SCVs go down. GuMiho. Big commitment, but big reward has been achieved. That was so cool. Just goes up with 7 Reapers. Dude, Clem is getting Clemmed this game. Or Euthermaled, of course. The original Reaper God. Remember +1 Reapers? Oh, I remember. Ruining Terran versus Zerg for a long-ass time on the 5k ladder. 5k was respectable back in the day, okay? Third CC's going down for GuMiho now. He's going Cloak Banshee. That is crazy. And you don't suspect this. You're like, oh, that's Interference Matrix, 100%. Clem gets the stim in, is taking down some SCVs. Actually equal with GuMiho here. That's third command center paying off the dividends right away. And Clem is cashing in right away. He's not long. He's spending it on Marines once again. Double engineering bay though. That is investing into the future. That's starting the pension fund. Because that's StarCraft, right? If you build 2 engineering bays, you kind of want to get 2-2 out of them. Because if you're only gonna upgrade like 1-1 and then go attack or all in, that's kind of considered to not be quite worth it. There's rarely a timing where 1-1 is so good. I guess in mirror matches it might be a little different. Because you have the same units. Like, if I think about 1-1 on Marines versus Marines, that sounds really good and sounds way better than only +1 over 0. 0-0. But then you really have to invest early to get the double engineering bay and the upgrades. if you want to do a 1-1 timing, that is very expensive. And that could be a lot more Medivacs, Marauders, Marine, Siege Tanks. Double Cloak Banshee on the map. Did he finish Cloak? He did finish Cloak. And he's going for Blue Flame. We're seeing a little bit of mech coming out of GuMiho here in game number 3. The first mech of GuMiho. First game he went Bio. Second game he went Marine Tank. Oh my god, these Banshees get a couple of CV kills, but the turret vision gets one of the Banshees killed by the Vikings and the Marines. Now the scan does come out. GuMiho does barely not get out of the scan range. At least you forced another scan. You might force like more turrets if Clem is afraid of more Cloak Banshees. Because you could go for like speed Banshees. Like, I remember back in the day, Wings of Liberty days, one of my friends was Terran, and he was always talking about how he wanted to be the Sky Terran player in TvT. And he would always go, like, Banshees. And he would always have, like, this group of Banshees, 2-3 Banshees, roaming around the map, trying to pick off, like, a siege tank, or a supply depot, or a gas, or a couple Marines, and, like, with perfect micro, you can kill infinite Marines, I think. There's, like the StarCraft Masters, reward or achievement that you can get in the client. I don't know if anybody has played that, but it's a pretty old mode by now, but I think it came out with Legacy or even Heart of the Swarm. I think Heart of the Swarm. Or they came out with like StarCraft Master, which is just like 20 challenges to do your micro. And Clem, on the side of GuMiho's map, is sieging the third base. Oh, that siege tank got a pretty big hit. Both sides still have Vikings. Clem does not want to drop in here, even though there weren't a lot of units there. The auto turret is a pretty scary unit. Oh, these Marines moving a little bit too close, get aggroed by the tank. And all my lovely World of Warcraft players know that once you get aggroed, you pull aggro, can be very risky. Still a couple SCVs get taken down. 66 SCVs for GuMiho, and look at this Banshee. The value. Once you have the air control, these Banshees can take apart your opponent's siege line. And Thor is here. God, Thors are cool. 2 Thors out on the map. And additional factories being created. Only 1 starport so far for GuMiho. That is actually quite surprising. Like, he's going these Banshees and the Vikings. So you kind of expect him to have, like, at least the starport on an add-on. But no, it's a naked starport right now. He's just using it as a spicy tech option. It's a one-off. And it's working pretty well. Oh, the Thors. Thors are so cool! They just tanked the tanks. All the tank shots. The Thor's like, oh, I don't care. I'm just gonna keep shooting. Note, Thors are only cool in TvT and TvP. Versus Zerg, they're not cool. The 4th base of Clem does get spotted, but does not get delayed by GuMiho. Let's tally up what's happening. GuMiho slightly ahead in the work account, but Clem is taking his 4th on position. GuMiho still has to fly it over. 1-1 is done for Clem. 2-2 is underway. We have +1 attack on the tanks. That is the most important. Those help really dish out the damage. They have damage thresholds as well. I know that it is +2 where you start one-shotting Zerglings for the rest of the game. That is very important. I think +1 allows you to do 1 less shot versus enemy siege tanks. I'm not sure how it's on the bio. I should find that out at some point. If somebody knows, drop it in the comments. You can be smarter than me for once in your life. Sorry, that's a little aggressive. It's just a nasty part of my identity that I need to feel smart. Oh, the blue flame Hellions finally coming into play. We saw that upgrader really early on, and GuMiho takes his opportunity to just roast a bunch of Marines. Feels like that is more worth it than roasting a bunch of SCVs. Oof. Look at that. +1 blue flame Hellions. 3 of them just one-shot Marines. 2 of these Marines, just naked Marines. They have nothing. Oh, and here come the Hurricane Thrusters. That is the Cyclone movement speed upgrade. We learned that in 3 casts ago. Learning together. So cute. Hellbat transformation comes up. And we need to go full zoom out to see these siege tanks looking at each other. And Clem dives on into the trenches, meets a lot more tanks than he bargained for. Thor is here as well. And the PF gets repaired. So Clem trades out here, but does not get the big prize reward. And look at these Thors. They only have +1 armor, but they tank a lot of that bio shot. I think they inherently already have multiple points of armor. I think it's like 3 armor natively. That's completely pulled out of my ass, but I think it's about that. It's at least 2, because roaches get 2. So, obviously a Thor should have more. And armor is very good against Marine specifically, and that is why I think we see these Marauders for Clem. And GuMiho did it as well in game number 1. Can't go pure Marine versus Mech. And he goes for the Doom Drop. Clem gets in, but the tanks from the low ground do help out. And this tank is very important in keeping this ramp. And both of Clem's tanks are exposed and do get taken down. And so this Doom Drop does not take control of the main, does not shut down all of the production. But it does get on top of the 5th base here for GuMiho. Takes down a couple more SCVs. Actually gets medevac for its troubles. No, leave 1 Marine here, no! I guess even the SCVs could just clean up the Marine. And Clem, as the bio player should, is taking the initiative, taking down the rocks. Are we gonna see some ghosts with nukes this game? We might, but first, we see a Liberator transition for Clem. Is going to try and use those libs to siege onto the siege tanks and take him down from the skies. And GuMiho tries to fight those with the Thors in his army. I'm kind of happy when Thors are viable in any matchup. I've not been hiding that, but still. 2 tanks only for Clem here versus 15 tanks of GuMiho. GuMiho's just pushing him back out of his part of the map. Clem does get a pretty decent trade here with the Cyclones, but as soon as he gets in range of the tanks, it starts favoring GuMiho. 3-3 is done on the bio, but it's just mostly bio. An extra starport is now being added on for Clem. I don't know where... Oh, there it is, in the natural. Do see 1 Liberator going towards the 5th base. Might get a couple SCV kills, but oh my god, the tanks! Clem does not lose a bunch of units there. Good for him. Oh, the Vikings here, they're actually just being rallied in. And these 2 Vikings are actually not very... you can't take that too lightly. You don't want to lose those. Liberator sieges up. Invalidates the 5th base for GuMiho. Nice job, Clem. Can you take advantage of that and make another move? This top base, for example, not super defended, but it's hard to move through this choke. If there's like 2 siege tanks there, you're going to lose a lot of units. And now GuMiho's also moving towards you. So suddenly you're kind of being boxed back to your side of the map. You can't walk around the army of GuMiho. And oh, Clem thinks there's not a lot of tanks there. Does the scan, sees that there's a bunch of tanks, moves back in time. But still lose a bunch of units. Can remax here. Not the biggest of deals. Liberator did get cleaned up. 81 SCVs. And Clem goes for a pretty decent concave here. Gets a trade, but the tanks siege up. And Clem feels the need to once again retreat onto his own side of the map. And GuMiho is slowly but surely pushing himself into Clem's territory. And GuMiho gets the siege up just on time. He has enough chaff in the front. He has those Hellbats. He has the Thors. And Clem just doesn't have a lot of tanks of his own. Plus, his tanks are not upgraded at all. So his tanks die to GuMiho's tanks faster. And now the 3rd base of Clem. It has been mined out pretty well, but still he is going to lose it. The SCVs come off the line to tank for the bio army. The tanks still being target fired onto the bio army. Nice job by GuMiho making sure that the DPS of those tanks still utilized. 28 SCVs were sacrificed into the meat grinder that GuMiho set up, and GuMiho still not gone from Clem's side of the map, and Clem just doesn't barely have enough units to deal with all of these siege tanks. Nice drop here on top of the siege tanks, does get 2 more of them, and is going to take down the last one as well, but it's super scrappy. Clem only has 100 supply and 40 workers. This is not boding well for Clem, now is it? I'm very scared for Clem. If he does not get momentum, he's going to go down. Oh my god, the blue flame Hellions come in. The mules were just dropped on that base. No way, that feels bad. Or, well, there is a way it feels bad. What was a comma there? And Clem does clean up the blue flame Hellions, and now tries to re-establish his economy. 4 SCVs being built at a time. This orbital being repaired slowly but surely. And there's a PF here. Oh my god, that's when everything just sinks into your feet. When you're GuMiho, I don't know how to say that in English, but it does not feel good. Finds both the 5th and the 6th base whilst being attacked at the middle. GuMiho just thrusting himself into the field center of Clem. 3 tanks try to siege up, but the position is already lost, and Clem just gets doubled up in army supply by GuMiho. He sees how many cool Thors there are. The Hellbats even just getting on top of the bio, doing insane splash. And Clem has to tap out here in game number 3. GuMiho is on match point and 1 map away from taking this series. Game number 4. GuMiho going up against Clem and it's Ghost River. Now I wonder how that plays out. You can expand away from your opponent, so this map feels like it's super good for turtling. So either like this goes super fast, or we are in for Turtle Fest. Now, when I loaded up this game, it gave me a prompt that the StarCraft Master arcade game has 30 unique challenges that you can try to best your StarCraft skills or whatever. So I feel like StarCraft was listening to me when I was talking about that, and I was wrong. In the last game I said that there were 20 challenges, but apparently it's 30. So yeah, if you haven't done those in a while, or you haven't done them at all, I would recommend trying them out. It's kind of fun. Some of them are super old. Like, one of them is like shooting your own probe or SCVs with a siege tank to deal with a DT, which nowadays, that just doesn't happen, I think. We've maybe seen it like, we see it like once a year. But you have like some of the things are really hard, like Banshee kiting. I think you have to like pick up siege tanks whilst stalkers are shooting them. That one is pretty difficult for your average player, right? Like Clem will do that first try, of course. Of course. Let's see what's going on. Double gas for GuMiho once again. Going for that fast factory. And Clem also going for the fast factory. It's again, not a gain. That shit triggers me so hard. I don't know why. It's just again, just I'm not even an English native. And I can't. Or I can't. I don't know. A little bit of a lore dump. This shirt is from the, I don't know what it says actually, Rotterdam Games Week, I think. I basically, with the first Rotterdam Dream Hack, that was a couple years ago, 2019, I think. I did a bunch of like consulting for Ahoy Rotterdam, which was pretty cool. Tried to convince them to do a StarCraft tournament. The ROI wasn't quite there, sad. But I also almost dissuaded them from doing Brawlhalla because I was just not really into that scene. But Brawlhalla is actually quite a big game, so good on them to push back on that. We did get the melee in there. That was very fun. I helped run that tournament as well. Didn't really get any credit for that in the end, in the community. But still. It's, you know, doing things in the background is just... You don't get the public recognition, so you need to get the recognition of your peers. Which I also didn't get in spades. That hurt the most, you know? You're providing the food, you're making sure the prizing is there, you're like... You do all the small things. But We have a video game that we are watching, ladies and gentlemen. The fourth game between Clem and GuMiho. And this time around, they're both not really running across the map with like 6 to 8 Reapers and try to kill the other guy. They're just going in for a little scouting. Both players just timidly expanding. But GuMiho is done with being timid. Oh my god, that's 4 Cyclones from Clem going out. Okay, so Clem going for a Cyclone build here. He has 4 versus the 2 of GuMiho, but GuMiho has a drop that goes into the main of Clem. Clem has no units at all. This is like the most devastating timing for Clem to deal with the drop the moment he himself is trying to be the strongest on the opposing side of the map. And 2 SCVs are already going down. These Cyclones dive in on top of the Cyclones of GuMiho. They do get down a bunch of the SCVs, but the lock-ons go on top of the SCVs, not the opposing Cyclone on the other side of the map. GuMiho's just dropping around, and Clem gets a little bit of unlucky with his own Cyclones. And I think he just lost vision for a little bit, didn't lock onto that Cyclone, and then he did kill some extra SCVs. And you saw him pick up to refresh the targeting, but mostly just to refresh the targeting on his opponent's Cyclone. And 8 SCVs go down. And that's 8 versus 6. Oh, that's... Oh, unlucky. GuMiho gets that last medevac. That was a little awkward. Medevac versus medevac action. My Cyclone brings all the boys to the yard. Damn right. And now we have 2 Ravens on the side of GuMiho. No interference matrix, whereas Clem is committing for the interference matrix. GuMiho could still go back for it. Goes for a 3rd on location. Feels like he won out of on that early game. And now decisively wants to take map control. He has these 2 Cyclones, whereas Clem is just going into the bio tank, or the marine tank at least. And the first Raven is out. We have a siege tank in the mineral line, so not too much should happen. But this 3rd Commancer does get delayed for a little bit. Only 2 Marines are... Oh, that Raven does take a lot of damage. And gets F2'd in. No! The Raven! GuMiho gets a lot of value there. The F2 curse. And GuMiho, even using that auto turret, taking down more SCVs, takes down 11 this game. And only slightly ahead in the SCV count, but he's also ahead in the worker count, or army count, and has his 3rd base on location. So GuMiho slowly but surely getting ahead here. Taking his gases, and he's making a factory. He's going for mech once again. He's okay if this game takes a little longer. If you take this base from your opponent, you win the game, I think. Because there's no, like, center base. So it's an equal amount of bases. So you really have to take the one that's your opponent's. I don't know if that makes this would make this map better or worse if they had, like, a gold base down here. Probably worse. I would love to take it every game as Zerg, but... Because it's also further away from your opponent than your goddamn main base. So if you just go, like, heavy Zergling, maybe even Mutas, it would be kind of good. GuMiho goes out again with the Cyclone drops, and he's been catching Clem every time with these drops, at least this game. We have a siege tank per mineral line, so Clem is actually set up super defensively. GuMiho just walks into the 3rd base up this tiny choked ramp, and he's going up a ramp, but he can't because he is up a game, not down a game. Is that how the rule goes? I don't remember. It's my own rule, but still. Oh, the SCVs are being pulled by Clem one by one, but his break not quite... Oh, he was sending them out to take the base. The Marines trying to walk out. We don't have stim just yet. It's just Marine tank with auto turrets being chucked into the front line. The auto turrets being used as the chaff this time around. And some SCVs are being pulled. Clem is like, get off my lawn. GuMiho, but GuMiho up 10 workers, up an army supply. He has more Vikings here as well, and he has tank sieged. Oh! Gets a couple Marines, but does not get crucial hits onto the tanks. Now, oh my god, the Viking count. 10 Vikings up to 3. Immediately lands with the Vikings, Clem here. But can the tanks deal with these Cyclones? The medevac catches the Cyclones, or like picks them up, Clem throws the GG out. GuMiho takes game number 4. And with that, the series 3-1 pretty convincingly. Oh my lord. Dude. Clem scans, sees the 4th base in production. 3rd base fully operational. And did GuMiho get an extra seat? No, he did not get it. Oh, he did get an extra starboard. That is what happened. Oh. Clem also had an extra one. But GuMiho just had a way higher Viking count, and it just snowballed from there. GuMiho taking his small advantages. He got more ahead, more ahead, more ahead. And takes this best of 5 versus Clem in a pretty convincing fashion, honestly. I think especially this last game was... It was just quick, decisive, not too close. If you look at the SCVs lost, the units lost, it's just commanding victory for GuMiho. Guys, thank you so much for watching this first semi-final of the Homestory Cup 25. We'll be doing Showtime going up against Brain Hero Marine. So that's the German classic. And looking forward to that. We'll get a couple less casts than usual this week because I'm very busy. I need to like finish up a bunch of like applications and stuff. Boy has to like get a job and stuff. So, hope you enjoyed. Be sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.